Today in history. Okay, it's Friday, April 25th, and our journey to the past will continue.
It certainly will. We have 4 events that we are going to share with our listeners today. A busy day in Today in History, but first here's my quiz question. The main focus in the field of genetics is, number 1, genes, or number 2, energy. Question again. The main focus in the field of genetics is, number 1, genes, or number 2, energy. Tough question, maybe.
It is.
If you know the answer, put it on our Bondi board or text it in, pounder sharp 1045. That'll cost you 51 to win an eco bag and mug cup.
Right. Like Steve has just mentioned, we're going to be covering 4 main items today out of all many great things that have happened on this day. So here's the list.
Today in history. In 1874, Guglielmo Marconi was born. In 1940, Al Pacino was born. In 1953, scientists published the first work on the double helix structure of DNA, and in 2003, the Human Genome Project was completed. Busy day, huh?
Oh, it is. Today's journey to the past begins with the birth of a man who is now known as the creator of radio, or in other words, the man who made our show and countless many other radio shows possible.
He was Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi, and he was born on this day in 1874.
So Marconi was very much interested in electricity since he was very young. During his lifetime, a scientific development took the world by storm, and that was the demonstration of the existence of radio waves by Heinrich Hertz. So that's why we call it Hertz, right? The father of the scientific unit for frequency, the Hertz.
When he was just 20 years old, he built an alarm that could be set off by pressing a button located on the other side of the room. And after showing this experimental invention to his parents, his father gave him all the money he had in his wallet so he could buy more materials and keep working on more inventions. By the end of 1895, he was able to transmit radio signals for about 2.4 kilometers.
와, 그러니까 어릴 때부터 참 대단했네요. 이미 20살 때 버튼을 누르면 다른 방에서 울리게 하는 그런 알람을 개발했다고 합니다. So, and quite supportive parents he had.
Very.
네, 모든 돈을 그 부모가 이제 그에게 투자해서 발명을 계속하게끔 뒷받침을 해줬다고 하는군요. So his works were, of course, a milestone for humankind. He was able to consolidate the use of radio for wireless communications, establishing the first radio service and building the first stations in the UK. Well, at the turn of the century, he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1909.
Marconi's immense contribution to modern communications is commemorated through numerous honors and awards, including bills and coins with his portrait, stamps, inductions in Hall of Fames, and streets, buildings, and organizations named after him. So many these days.
You can see some of them on the Boynan Radio right there.
That's right.
Okay. All right, now let's move on to our next item. Well, we're going to be celebrating the birthday of this really famous, worldwide famous, really actor of all time, I must say.
He's known for his intense roles that can go from hero to villain. Al Pacino, probably one of the better actors throughout history. He was born on this day in 1940.
And this internationally acclaimed actor is a great example of perseverance. He is said to have had 2 dreams when he was a teenager, a baseball player and an actor.
Yeah, that's right. Now, obviously, he chose the latter, and he went through many experiences, many losses, many gains and rejections before becoming well known as a stage actor and then jumping to stardom with his memorable performance as Michael Corleone in 1972's The Godfather.
That's right. And Al Pacino is also a member of some exclusive groups. For instance, he is one of only 11 actors who were nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor at the same time.
That's pretty interesting, huh? Well, his Oscar came with his performance in the movie Scent of a Woman in 1992. That was such a good movie and such a good performance, right?
Did you catch the movie?
I've seen it numerous times.
Oh, have you? Well, interestingly, he is one actor known for turning down many sought-after roles, though.
For instance, he turned down Marlon Brando's role in Apocalypse Now, if you've seen that film. A role in Pretty Woman he turned down as well. It was the role of Han Solo in Star Wars that he rejected, and even a stellar role in The Usual Suspects. That was a Kevin Spacey film.
Right. Okay, so Al Pacino, happy birthday. And now let's move on to the scientific field, where one of the most important scientific discoveries in the 20th century was published on this day in 1953.
And that was the work on the double helix structure of DNA. We can see the photo of it there on Point and Radio. The article, which was published in the magazine Nature, is considered a pearl of science because it is brief and contains the answer to a fundamental mystery about living organisms.
And that mystery was, simply put, how is genetic information passed from generation to generation? Well, this article provided with a simple solution and had a major impact in the field of genetics, paving the way to better understanding the genetic code of living things.
The article was published by James Watson and Francis Crick, who were awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine along with another scientist in 1962.
I see. Okay, with the discovery of the double helix, the field of genetics took a drastic boost, and this led to a scientific project that is considered as the largest collaborative project in biology to date.
That project was the Human Genome Project, which was planned in 1984 and got underway in 1990 and declared complete on this day in 2003.
I remember how exciting it was back then when it first
When the
was
news
discovered.
came out that it was completed,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
This project basically allowed scientists to come up with a blueprint of what comprises human DNA, including the identification of all genes.
That's right. And having this information is like having a manual to the human body, essentially, isn't it? So what is left now is to sort this information out and put it to good use.
Right. That's the next step.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So that's it for today's Today in History. And before we wrap up this segment, so let's check the answer.
The answer to the quiz. The question was, the main focus in the field of genetics is number 1, genes, or number 2, energy, and the answer, number 1, genes.
그렇죠. 유전자를 연구하는 거죠.
Can I ask you, speaking about genes, before we move on, do you get more of your looks from your mom or your dad?
I think it has changed. When I was little, people used to tell me that, wow, you look exactly like your father. But as I grew older, I get some like other opinions a lot. Like,
Oh, really?
You look more and more like your mom.
Oh, that's interesting.
it is.
Ever since I was a baby, it's always been, you look like your mom, you look like your mom. Even today, you look like your mom,
Oh,
you look
still?
like your mom. Yeah, it hasn't changed
I
at all.
think so. I saw the photo and then
Oh, really?
you do look like your mom.
Yeah, that's the common opinion, that's for sure.
Yes.
What about personality traits?
Wow, a little of both, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and that's a good teaching point. Sorry, before we move on. When we're asking about looks, who do you look like? Your mom or your dad? And then personality, who do you take after?
그 좋은 얘기인데요.
Yeah.
자, 외모가 닮았다고 할 적엔 look like로 쓰게 되고, 그다음에 그 성격을 좀 빼닮았다라고 할 적에는 take after.
Take after. Who do you take after, right? So I look like my mom, but I take after my dad.
아, 그러면 you don't have to use the word like personality,
No.
뭐 characteristics.
That's what
필요
take
없고.
after means.
이게 다 설명하게 되는 거네요. I take after my father. I take after my mother. 이런
Right.
식으로. 아유, 좋은 포인트입니다.
All right, that's going to do it for today in history. Thank you very much. Yes, when we come back from this break, we'll be sharing some inspirational stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul. Here's
Yes.
Everything But the Girl. I don't want to talk about it.